Hey everyone, and thanks for joining me for this episode of Recruiter's Digest. Today we're going to be talking about why 33% of new employees quit their job within 90 days of starting their position. So this was from a recent study, and those are the average numbers. A third of your employees quit within 90 days of starting their new position. So I found some of the reasons why really fascinating. So I'm going to talk about two of them particularly here. The first one is 43% of employees report that their day-to-day role wasn't what they had been led to believe it would be during the hiring process. So there was obviously some miscommunication between maybe the recruiter or the hiring manager and what that position looks like and actually what it is once they got into the day-to-day of that position. And I think it's important to note here, just as it's not a good experience when a candidate oversells their ability and their skill sets maybe, I think it's also super important that an employer doesn't try to oversell the role of a particular position, because eventually, again, the person's gonna jump into that position and really understand what the day-to-day role is. So really aligning those expectations appropriately so that when the individual jumps into that role where there's clear expectations and maybe they're actually pleasantly surprised at, almost feel like the position was undersold a bit, or it's, again, almost a better experience than what they anticipated when being presented the role. The second thing I want to talk about here is that 32% state that the company culture was the reason for leaving within the first 3 months. So company culture really matters here. And this is a whole topic in itself, and we've had an episode or two about that in Recruiter's Digest here, but company culture really matters. And again, this is lived out by their team members, or again, mostly what you see is like through managers in the organization. Like, let's make sure the leadership and the culture is healthy in our organization so that that's not one of the reasons that people are leaving our companies. So those are the two specific points. And again, it's really important to not just look from a metric standpoint of like, hey, what's our cost per hire or hire rate, but I feel more importantly is looking at what your retention rate is for your employees, looking at your hiring process and what are the practical things that you can do within those first 90 days, especially to delight your new employees and to make it even a better experience than what they were initially anticipating when joining your organization. If we can get this one thing right, it'll solve a lot of other problems in your organization. So thanks so much for joining me for this episode, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.